and welcome to Time of Death. I'm Ris.
And I'm Dee.
And if you're new here, welcome. We are two nurses that like talking true crime. We like to focus on cases that have a heavy medical influence to them, or cases that feature a medical professional as a perpetrator or victim.
Excellent. Thank you, Ris.
So this week we're going to be talking about, it's been getting pretty good coverage lately, and it's a pretty recent case. Anything we share in today's episode is just our thoughts and opinions based on our research done with the information we've been given as of yet. Just want to give a quick warning. Today we're going to be talking about the sexual abuse of children, including child pornography. So if that's something that you are not in the right headspace to listen to, please skip this episode and we'll see you next week. So, like I said, it's an ongoing case and there could be more that comes to light. And so let us continue. So John Boyle, he is a chiropractor in Kingston, New York, and him and his wife, Danielle Scofield, and they have a family practice called Boyle Family Chiropractic. They're both age 33, so a pretty young couple. They were particularly popular among residents, even going so far as to win awards as the top chiropractor in the Hudson Valley.
Wow.
John had been born in Kingston. He ventured out to Palmer College of Chiropractic in Iowa before returning back home to open this successful practice. So they did, normal chiropractic things. They offered
Crack-a-lackin'.
They were crack-a-lackin'. They did like normal orthopedic stuff, like interventions. However, one more rare service, I would say, was chiropractic adjustments for the very young, including babies. So they actually promoted this a lot on their Facebook page. And I don't know, I never heard of doing chiropractic work on babies, but obviously, I guess there's a niche for it. How do you say it?
A niche.
Niche for it.
I just want to say something. I see a chiropractor, but I've also heard the horror stories about them cracking your neck.
Yeah.
I can't have anyone touch my neck.
Yeah, I feel like every time I've gone, because I've gone before to the chiropractor, every time they work on my neck, I always get super tense because I'm like, oh my goodness.
But also, like, doing adjustments on children and babies, like, their bones are just so different than an adult. And it's so much easier. Like, I feel like it requires a lot less force to do a lot of damage on, like, kids and babies especially. Like, bones aren't even fully developed. I mean, I don't know. That's the whole situation. Doing adjustments on children and babies is just, and I don't know enough about it, but in my mind, that's just really, just seems unsafe.
I actually read this, I don't know, study, or I think it was just maybe a excerpt, not semi-recently, about like a aortic dissection after a chiropractor visit, and that was like, and I remember seeing a statistic, and I can't find that statistic now, but I don't know, it always scares me. I think this study that I found just now was an acute thoracic aortic dissection after a chiropractic visit. Yeah.
I thought it was safe just not letting them crack my neck. I was like, God, please don't let me become paralyzed or let my aorta dissect.
So obviously not saying like every chiropractor, this is going to happen with every chiropractic visit. I think this was a rare occurrence, but I don't know. I read that and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was possible, that could have been, had any correlation with this event. Anyway, so John and Danielle were actually both accused of being in possession of and distributing child pornography.
Oh, God.
One source that I found noted that the state police investigation began in August of 2023.
Wow.
Working with the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Another source noted that in October of 2024, So this is over a year later. A tip was made by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to police. And this tip revolved around the pornographic image of a young girl, estimated to be between 11 and 13 years old. And this image had been shared on Snapchat. And police were able to trace the image and the IP address back to John.
I just want to say, I really don't do well with people who abuse children. And the fact that this was someone who was a doctor doing this, and it sounds like his wife was also involved, just like is absolutely nauseating and disgusting.
Knowing like that he worked with babies, it makes you think there must have been some nefarious things with his patients going, like there must have been something nefarious, like in my opinion, perhaps. Like, I don't know whether taking videos or photos of them. I don't know what else.
I just want to say this. I'm not a parent yet, God willing, but don't leave your kid alone with anybody. I don't care. Doctor, teacher, principal, priest, whoever. Do not leave your children alone with other adults that you don't trust. And even if you do trust them, that is a whole other can of worms, because most sexual abuse is perpetrated by someone that the child is very comfortable with and trusts themselves. They trust them because their parents trust them. So, I hope that no parents left their children alone with him, but in his position of authority, a lot of moms and dads are just gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, that's the protocol, that's the policy, that's fine. Don't leave your kids alone with anyone.
So another child pornography image that was involved in this tip made by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children was another image of a girl. She was estimated to be like age 10 to age 13. And this image was shared on Flingster. And Flingster is like, for those of you who may not know, is an adult like chat site, like video, and I think like dating, like that kind of stuff. And this post was traced back to John. And it was found out that the images were actually created at an Airbnb that John and Danielle had been staying at in Florida in August of 2023. And police were able to see the dates that they stayed at the Airbnb and match it to the date that the image was created. And also, Danielle had actually left a review of the Airbnb.
So evil and stupid.
Precisely. So police obtained a search warrant on October 30th of last year. And John's phone had more than 1,300 photos and 811 videos, including sexual abuse of children, child pornography.
Oh, God.
Hundreds of these photos included babies and toddlers, and some of these children were in bondage.
I just want to say, like, this is honestly, to hear about these babies, and I say babies and I mean literal babies. I think also, like, we have to keep in mind, too, that these children are being traumatized.
Dozens of these images or videos included sexual acts involving animals, and at least 4 included child necrophilia.
What?
I don't know if they were like depicting necrophilia, or I don't really know the extent of it or what the context was, but I did see that.
Wow.
Bestiality, bondage, and necrophilia were included in some of these images and or videos.
That just makes it's already a horrible, awful thing, but that just takes it to a whole different level.
I know. He shared at least 89 photos via text, Telegram, and Session. And Telegram and Session are like messaging apps. So we will start with John. John was charged with promoting an obscene sexual performance by a child less than 17, promoting a sexual performance by a child less than 17, possessing an obscene sexual performance by a child less than 16, and possessing a sexual performance by a child less than 16. Danielle, of course, was also in possession of this material, and she went on to send it to other people as well. She was charged with promoting an obscene sexual performance by a child less than 17, possessing obscene sexual performances by a child less than 16, and possessing sexual performance by a child less than 16. Danielle had actually been charged with 2 child sexual abuse material possession counts in October of 2024. The chiropractic practice shut down when Danielle was arrested in October, but John actually sounded like he had kept seeing patients. I guess he started seeing them in late January of 2025. So they shut down end of October, and then in the end of January 2025, he started seeing them again, evidenced by text messages between some former patients of his and John. A neighbor said that when he was seeing a patient that day, he put a sign in front of the house. So this case is ongoing. The judge so far has asked about why it took law enforcement so long to get John arraigned from the time that the search warrant was issued. They were frustrated with that and were wondering why it took so long. They also, I guess when I think it was John's lawyer, was reading off the images and was talking about the images that were on John's phone, the judge kind of shut the lawyer down and was like, they kind of seemed like, I don't really want to hear it, is kind of the I was getting from that. They are both pleading not guilty to these charges. John is out on bond right now, and Danielle is out on her own recognizance, which basically is just a promise to appear back in court. And they are due back in court on April 15th.
Maybe I'm a creep. I definitely am a creep. I'm on their Facebook page. And, I would never think that this is, two pedophiles. And I'm looking at their website. Oh, it looks like it's parked. BoyleFamilyChiropractic.com. But apparently they did have a website at one point of it. I think they have 2 young children.
I see a picture of their Facebook, and they're holding a baby, so I think they at least have 1.
I've read somewhere they had 2.
Oh, wait, no, there's 2. It looks like they have 2 babies, yeah. 2 children. I know there's been a lot of, outrage with this case, definitely justified outrage. And I think that this case was I know it's hard to talk about, but it's also a good reminder that a lot of the time these issues are not talked about enough. And so talking about them and, spreading the word that these things happen, and there are very serious issues surrounding child pornography and sexual abuse of children. They're a vulnerable population, and it's just extremely heartbreaking to know that people who can take advantage of the youth, anyone in general, but especially the youth, is very upsetting.
Absolutely. It's an important thing to keep in mind for sure. Just because it's awful and horrible to hear about doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and we have to be informed. Good case, Ris. Good job horrible, awful, tragic case, but wonderful job presenting the facts.
Thank you. Anyway, we're going to be calling it. The time is 20:40. That's 8:40 p.m. for those of you who do not use military time. And we'll see you here next week. If you did enjoy this episode, feel free to review us, rate us, share it with your friends or family, and we'll see you here next week. Bye.
Bye.